Hey everyone, Drekkie here, and today I've got a treat for you. This is real 4K versus fake 4K, and we're featuring the SunPlus 6350 processor. This processor is common in cameras around $40 to $50, and is found in some of the more popular cameras like the Akaso EK7000 and the Nikon H9. As usual, I highly recommend watching this in 4K mode and on a big screen to get the most out of the differences, otherwise you might not see them if the size is compressed too small. To start, here's some real 4K from a ThiEYE T5e. A lot of commenters on my EK7000 video suggested that I must love GoPro or get paid by GoPro, but honestly I don't think they're the greatest value cameras. Were I to spend a lot of money, I'd actually buy a Sony. Anyways, even if the ThiEYE is not the best real 4K out there, I figured it would be the best comparison point since the price is typically within $30 of the EK7000. Now let's move on to the fake 4K. At full resolution, you may not initially notice a huge difference, especially if you're watching this video in 1080p or on a small screen. Scaled down, the video actually looks fine. But let's freeze frame for a second here and take a closer look. Check out the difference of this car here. With the fake 4K, there is a ton of blocking and artifacting around details such as power poles and grass and leaves. The real 4K camera is much easier to read the license plate on. These artifacts are not caused by YouTube, they're directly from the camera. Let's go back to the real 4K again. Pay attention to the lack of artifacting and blocking on the video. Any that are visible here are caused by YouTube and not the camera itself. While the fake 4K has more vibrant color, it has way less detail overall. To show you what I mean, let's zoom into 100% crop. Now here we can see there's lots of detail around the cars and surrounding foliage, and when I round this corner into the sun rays are actually smooth, there's no blocking on it. Now let's see that same shot again in fake 4K. There's a lot less detail on things like the cars and the trees, and a lot more blocking, especially when you slow it down. Check out the sun rays too, they are not smooth at all. When zoomed in, it looks pretty awful, honestly. There are two major reasons why this camera doesn't have as much detail as a real 4K camera. The first reason is because the sensor is only 4 megapixels. It's known as an OmniVision OV4689, which you can look up all the data about that on Google. Real 4K requires at least 8 megapixels. That means this camera is upscaling or interpolating to pretend it can do 4K. The second reason it doesn't have as much detail is because the camera films in a codec called Motion Jpeg. Most modern cameras film in H.264, which has more detail in a smaller file size, but it is challenging for a processor to record. It takes a little bit more power. This processor, the SPCA 6350, can't handle encoding 4K in H.264, so instead it uses MJPG, which results in more artifacts and is less smooth overall. That's why this camera can only do 25 frames per second as well, instead of 30. To be fair though, the EK7000 and other similar cameras based on this processor and sensor are capable of real 1080p 60, so if you do end up buying it, keep it in those formats for the best results. Finally, while it's not the worst fake 4K I've ever seen, this is my second copy of the camera that freezes regularly while attempting to film in 4K. I even tried several different memory cards from several brands, but I suspect it's actually heat related, as it seems to happen at random and more often when the camera is hot. If I turn the camera on from cold, usually it is able to record 4K for a little bit, and then it crashes. It was actually really frustrating to film this video, as half the time the camera would freeze a minute into recording and not write the file correctly, meaning that the videos I recorded were corrupted and unusable.
Tried again and it froze, and then I reset it and tried again and it froze, and so I switched memory cards and it froze again, and then I just turned it on and this time it worked, but the train's gone, so we're stuck with this.
SunPlus, the maker of the processor, actually recently announced a new processor that can do real 4K, so I'm interested to see that when it comes out. In the meantime, if you need real 4K, don't cheap out, because these results don't cut it. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any questions, please just let me know in the comments and I'll be glad to answer them.